Brodes Media.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? It's been a busy-ass weekend, so I was at a wedding in Philadelphia. Lots of things going on over the weekend, so I just compiled the 3 games against the Marlins into one show. You're going to absolutely enjoy it. Joe Girardi drama, Bryce Harper Bunting drama. It's going to be fun. So stick around before we dive into the show. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button, hit the thumbs up button as well. And over on Twitter, @Brodes81, toss me a follow there. It's always fun. We have a good time on the Twitter sphere, so head in that direction also. With that being said, enjoy the show. What is going on, everyone? Welcome on into Sports Talk with Brodes. Well, the Phillies salvage Game 3 of this Marlins series, but quite frankly, it's not good enough, right? Because they lost another series to a team that they should have annihilated. Oh, by the way, the Braves struggled in Colorado against the Rockies. They split the series 2-2. You could have taken advantage of some of those losses, but no. And that's what this team has shown you all year long, that they do not pounce on those opportunities. And there's so much to dive into because there's a lot of hot drama regarding Joe Girardi and some decision-making. There's a lot of controversy about Bryce Harper and bunting the baseball. But whose decision was it ultimately? I thought post-game we'd hear things get cleared up, but ultimately we got a lot of nonsense, which makes me speculate, and we'll get into that in just a moment. I like to, when I do a full series breakdown in one podcast, I do enjoy going in chronological order because it is easier to break down in our brains. And I don't really have too much on Game 1. I'm just really annoyed that you start out a series, right, in Miami, and you just fall flat on your face instantly. Kyle Gibson gets destroyed. And not only that, you're making brutal errors in the 6th inning. Freddie Galvis gets the ball over at third base. He tries to go to second. It gets flown into the outfield. Now we're chasing the ball. I mean, it was ridiculous. On top of that, Gene Segura over at second base. A lot of balls went through that I thought he should have been able to knock down and make a simple play to first base. But, you know, this is something that's going to constantly cost this team moving forward, and everything we've seen in the past this season, they're going to make mistakes. Whether you're playing a good opponent or a bad opponent, they're going to shove it down your throat, and that's what happened in Game 1 where they get embarrassed, and that was the worst we've seen out of Kyle Gibson. He really had nothing, and, you know, it's not as if he had the support system and the team to back it up, knowing that he's someone who's willing to allow the opponent to put the ball in play as well. But yeah, I mean, it's ugly, it's brutal, and it's what this team does in general. They just break you down, and they play bad baseball. And I want to throw this out there as well throughout this series. This was before the last game that happened, so this was before the victory. But it just puts it in perspective here when I go to Matt Gelb's tweet about the Marlins. So the Marlins are 19-11. Keep in mind, this is before Game 3 of the series, which is a .633 win percentage at home against the Phillies since 2018. They are 95-130, which is a .422 win percentage at home against every other team. It's really absurd, but what do you want me to tell you other than garbage you're going to get throughout this season? And by the way, I got to keep my eye on my fantasy football draft right now, so if I do get sidetracked, I apologize. We're basically at the back end. I only have, I believe, 3 picks to go. So I just need to keep in focus here towards the end just to make sure I get what I need to towards the final picks of the draft. But anyway, I digress. So that was your Game 1. Okay, let's see if you can win the next 2 and at least win 2 of 3, even though I'm not happy that right out of the gate, you're not focused right out of the gate. That's the crap you give us? So here's Game 2. Now, I was at a wedding Saturday night, so I did not see the game originally. Hold on one second. Originally, I did not see the game. I kept up with the game during the wedding. I even tweeted out, I'm going to chug a beer for every strikeout Ranger Suarez gets because he was giving them hell. He had 7 Ks in 5 innings. And then I saw what happened in the 8th following my notifications that I was getting from The Athletic, The Score, ESPN, MLB app. I just constantly get drilled with 5 or 6 different apps, even though it's the same information throughout the process. So what did I do? Well, I DVR'd the game before I went to the wedding. It was in Philly, so it wasn't a far trip or something I had to travel for. It was a local wedding, and I watched it this morning. So knowing what happened, I needed to see it, though. I needed to witness it. I needed to just experience the moments of pain so I could have that natural feel. I don't want to read up on the story, even though there's fantastic writers in the city. Scott Lauber, Bob Wankel, Todd Zalecki, Matt Gelb, the list goes on and on. Matt Breen, a fantastic coverage of the team. I can get the information there, but I need to feel it. I need to see it. I need to see body language, demeanor, and so much more throughout. So I sat through all 9 innings. Now, I fast-forwarded in between the commercials. I'd be an absolute moron if I didn't, and it was just as awful as I would have anticipated. Let's get to pulling Ranger Suarez. I have no issue with pulling Ranger Suarez. Now, I've been very critical of this organization not keeping their foot on the gas because there was a lack of sense of urgency, right? There's a difference for me. If I'm saying, just hypothetically, I don't want Zach Wheeler to go out in the 7th or the 8th because we need to think about the longevity of him. There's no signs of any issues, but we just want to go in another direction because we want to play the long game with Zach. That makes no sense to me in September baseball or August baseball when you're coming down the stretch. The difference with Ranger Suarez after 5 innings, 7 strikeouts, and 71 pitches is he was very vocal about saying after the game he felt fatigue in his triceps. His velocity dipped almost 2 miles per hour with his sinker, and with the four-seamer, it was basically about 1.2 miles per hour that he was missing out on. Like, your four-seamer's missing velocity, your sinker's missing velocity. There is a clear sign and evidence and data sitting in front of you that there is a physical problem with Ranger Suarez right now. I'm sorry, you can't just trot him out there again and pretend like that's not real info you have to analyze as a manager and as a pitching staff and as a coaching staff. Like, you need to see that. When I say pitching staff, I'm talking about Caleb Cotham, the pitching coach that looks over this crew. This is what happens when you think about spring training and a player who is stretching out their arm and trying to go more innings and going from not a lot of pitches to a lot of pitches. Ranger Suarez going from a bullpen piece to a starting rotation piece. This is what occurs, and it's a different scenario. His last 2 starts, he threw 95 pitches and 99 pitches. These are serious signs of, hey, we can't be testing this. You can't be like, oh, well, we'll wait 1 inning to see if somebody gets on. It's not the fact of he wasn't doing good enough. Of course he was doing good enough. There was a physical sign of some damage happening, and this is a situation where you need to make sure you do what's best for the pitcher when he clearly has pain in his triceps and there's fatigue there, whereas pitchers don't have the same zip on it. Regardless of what was happening out there, it's not about what was happening. Okay? And that's why when he got yanked and everyone's freaking out, it was similar to, a few games ago, maybe a week ago or so, Archie Bradley was sitting there in the pen and Joe Girardi trotted out De Los Santos, and he just knew, what are you doing, right? De Los Santos stinks. He's a miserable, miserable player, but you knew that, there's no way. This doesn't make any sense. Obviously, there's another piece to the puzzle. There's more that we need to know, and that's when after the game, when you basically found that out, it made sense that there was an issue going on. All right, so hold on. I'm basically up right now. I apologize for this. How bad of me, as my hair's going crazy, my headband's moving around. I'm just all over the place here. But it just, there was a bigger issue in that game than pulling Ranger Suarez, and it's actually the 8th inning with Archie Bradley, and it wasn't going to Archie Bradley because, well, you saw it in Game 3. You went to Archie Bradley in the 8th, and he did just a fine job. He's been pretty much solidifying a late-inning role all year, and the numbers have changed. The last 7 innings pitched, once again, this is before Game 3, the statistic. His ERA was 7.71 in the last 7 innings pitched and 3.23 batting average. There was a stretch from June 30th through August 12th where at 18 2/3 innings pitched, he had a 0.48 ERA, and hitters were batting .206 against him. So he was strong, and then as of late, well, it's been a bit different. I'll get to that in just 1 second. I have to make my selection here. Let's go. Am I looking wide receiver, or am I going to go? Yeah, I'll go wide receiver here. Let's go with, it's a late pick. I can go with Darius Slayton, or, yeah, maybe we'll do that. Okay. All right, so there was that. There's my pick. I'm going to pick again pretty soon, but we're really at the back end of the draft. I would never do this in the juiciness and the first sections of the draft. Okay, so the approach in the 8th inning was just embarrassing, and the problem is I don't know if it's JT, if it's Archie Bradley, if it's Caleb Cotham, or if it's Joe Girardi, and this has been a hot item for quite some time this year because there are so many questionable pitches thrown, and I really do believe it's a part of everybody here. Joe has a say, Caleb Cotham has a say, JT has a say, Archie has a say. I would imagine that there's communication involved, right? On, hey, what do you guys want to do here? And by the way, even though you know a bullpen game is happening in Game 3, you still have to do what's best for the player, and that's, oh, it's my turn already? Jeez, that was a quick turnaround, no? All right, hold on a second. It's a quick turnaround here. Let's go. Okay. Sorry. I apologize. Even though you know it's a bullpen game the following day, you know, it's unfortunate. That's why this team is where they are, because they don't really have all the options. They don't have all the resources in the world. That's why we're not talking about a playoff team consistently, and they're 500, and they have issues, and they have holes, and some nights they're good. Their offense isn't good enough where they only scored 2 runs against the stinking Miami Marlins. So there's so many problems with this team. That's why we are here. That's why the frustration's boiling as you head into a series against the Milwaukee Brewers with the Braves going up against the Washington Nationals. So clearly a significant jump in the 2 opponents. But here's what I do know. I know that Zach Wheeler, Aaron Nola, and Kyle Gibson are on the mound against this Brewers squad. Now, they're a better team, but I want to see something from this pitching staff. Whether it comes up victorious or not, it's about, let me see the attitude, let me see the edge, let me see the way they approach this from a this is your top 3. It's your top 3 guys. Let's see what you're made of. Okay, so anyway, you got fastballs right down the dick of the plate. Rojas is showing you. I mean, what are you thinking? This is what they do. You got your 4-seam fastball with no movement or anything. It's not as if you're going to be having this insane movement and unbelievable movement on your pitches here. You're just trying to gun it by and use your gas. Unfortunately, Archie Bradley, that's not where you're at right now, just challenging guys right over the heart of the plate. And as you can see, that backfired big time. But what I noticed after that was, hold on a second, if you're pitching backwards, there's actually success. So why not utilize that? You get Jazz in a big-time situation by utilizing no 4-seam fastballs. There was a sinker involved, but you went with your off-speed pitches. Then fast forward to Jesus Aguilar, same thing we're talking about here. Now, there was a fastball, there was a 4-seamer by surprise to get him striking out, but basically he pitched backwards, used off-speed pitches, and that surprised him with the ending 4-seam fastball there. But what are we doing for the first pitch with 2 outs? Challenging with a fastball to a hitter who can rock the fastball. Where's the IQ of the game? You just did something that was so beneficial, so successful, and you found something that worked. You were in rhythm. There was something to be said about the identity of pitching backwards and using your off speed. Yet here comes the first pitch of an at-bat after you just had version of success there in the 9th that you needed to have, and you just pissed it all away? Really? Who came up with that idea? It's more than JT. It's not just whoever's behind the plate. We heard from Ricky Bowe that 30% of the game is called by the catcher. Where's the other 70? But ultimately, Archie Bradley, if I'm on the mound and I'm Archie and I just saw what happened, you know what I'm saying? No. Shake your damn head. Who made this decision? I need to know. And the problem is we're never going to know. And that's what bothers me deep down is I'm never going to truly have my fingerprints where I need it, and that's grab that information. And that's not the only thing that, I won't have my information on. And that's what happened in the third game with Bryce Harper Bunting in the 6th inning. Now, look, they won the game, and Odubel Herrera came up big in the 10th inning, 2 outs, man on second base because of the extra inning rule, which the Bunting controversy came up in that inning as well. But let's get to, look, Bryce Harper's one at-bat was just sensational. Fall down 0-2, battle back, fouled some tough pitches off, and then hits a bomb to tie the baseball game. That's magnificent. It really is. And the fact that they won the game with the bullpen game is really ridiculous. Afterwards, Joe Girardi was asked about the bullpen game, and he said that, yeah, every 5th day, maybe we can do this. This does seem like something we can absolutely compete with. The answer is no, you can. But the alternative is Matt Moore. I can't believe I'm saying this, and this is just sad, but I would actually rather go with Matt Moore for maybe 3 innings and hopefully pray for 1 earned run baseball than just attack your bullpen consistently. This is where your next series where you have your top 3 pitchers on the mound, they got to give you some breathing room. Hey, we know we had to use Hector. We know we had to use Archie Bradley. We know we had to use Ian Kennedy for 2 innings, right? There were a lot of guys that got thrown in there, and you had to grab some pitches out of them. Guess what? This is where Zach Wheeler needs to go 7-8, and lately he's been getting eaten up a bit. He hasn't been as sharp. He's lost the command to Tad. A lot of innings pitched. So, it's one big circle here, one big domino. Your bullpen has been used. Now your starters have to make up for that flaw. But I don't love the theory of bullpen games all the time. They're not built for that. I'd actually rather go Matt Moore, and that's telling you a lot about where we are. Now, looking at this pen, Sam Coonrod, 1 1/3. Faltered, 2 1/3. Those guys allowed some runs. Rosso came in, Connor Brogdon, Alvarado, Hector Neris, Brodes, Bradley, Kennedy. Come on, Bedrosian out there. Just throwing the baseball around. Had 32 pitches. Had a nasty splitter in that 1 inning as well. Just throwing it out there. I remember the slow motion. It was just ridiculous. But just looking at all the 0 earned runs from 9 bullpen pieces. Yeah, of course, you're going up against the Utah Jazz. I saw Jazz's name on the batting order, and I almost just went Utah Jazz on us. The Miami Marlins, but look, that was a big win, and I hate to say this because all year long I feel it's been stressed at some point. Whew, they needed that win to stop the bleeding. They needed that win to stop the bleeding. They needed that win to stop the bleeding. How many times do we have to emphasize stopping the bleeding? If you're stopping the bleeding 10 billion times, you're not a good baseball team. When you're jacking out there, if you're putting guys out there and hoping they jack homers all game long, and even though this guy hasn't even done that, he's just been roping doubles and RBI triples and things of that nature. But Matt Vierling and these guys, it doesn't even add up to where they are now. I mean, you can make the argument that with this lineup consistently with these names in there, how are they even here where we're focusing on 2.5 games, 2 games back, right? Like that in that range. And I'm watching the St. Louis Cardinals pinch hit, walk-off grand slam. They lose a heartbreaker to the Brewers, and that makes sense, and that matters to us because of the wild card fight right now. Everything's happening for the Phillies. It's going in their favor, except, the Phillies need to execute more. But instead, and look, I said this from the jump here, that this team is going to be, I don't know how it's going to happen. I don't know what games they're going to win that they shouldn't or what games they're going to lose that they shouldn't. That's really irrelevant because other teams are going to fall and collapse on their face as well, where I don't know how it'll happen, but towards the end of September, it's going to be here where you're throwing haymakers with the Braves and you're fighting for it. No matter how it happens, it's going to happen, and that's what we're basically witnessing now. I have to get to Bryce Harper, though, bunting in the 6th inning. JT Realmuto on, 0 outs, and Bryce Harper bunts the fucking baseball down to the first base side. This is one of the best hitters in all of baseball. I am not giving up outs. And just to give you some numbers here, when you look at the analytical data, when you have a man on second base with 0 outs, you have a better chance to score than a man on third base with 1 out. And I will take my chances with Bryce Harper swinging the baseball bat. Why are you going to win? Why are you going to win? Because Bryce Harper is going to carry you. That's why you won during that 8-game win streak. That's why he's been so damn explosive and this team has been active. Like, I'm asking, how do they keep winning with these Veerlings of the world and Jankowski and Suarez and all these guys? And, yeah, they have their little moments, but without Bryce Harper playing at an MVP level, you're not in the mix. So I don't want Bryce Harper to be bunting. That's exactly what the other team wants you to do. They will absolutely live with the Bryce Harper bunt. That's the last person they want up with 0 outs and JT on second base is Bryce, and you're giving them that. It's dumb, stupid baseball. That's what it is. That's a dumb baseball, giving away Bryce Harper at bats. I know Kutch has had better bat speed as of late, and he's been good with the power bat recently and all. I'm not living and dying with DD and Kutch to score in runs. Why? Because you get you basically get the result that you got, which was not scoring a run, and JT staying at third. Now, it is my time to draft here. Let's complete the draft. All right, team completed. Boom, done. So that's my confusion on the bunt. If I'm the other team, let's put it in perspective here. If you're the Phillies and Freddie Freeman bunts, Acuna bunts, what are you doing? You're like, okay, I'll take that any day of the week. Keep in mind, it was a lefty-righty matchup. So seriously, it was just dumb. And then after the game, I'm hearing, because I wanted to know, hey, Joe, did you tell Bryce Harper to bunt? He said no comment. Bryce Harper was asked. He said, I was trying to move the base runner over. What does Joe Girardi saying no comment mean? I'm trying to peel the layer back here because there's two ways to look at it. If I'm going to protect my player, if I'm Joe, because I need to know, is this Bryce Harper just playing and Joe Girardi gives a free pass to Bryce to just do whatever you want up there because, well, fuck, it's Bryce Harper and you basically should give him the ability to make the baseball decisions that he wants to. He's a high-level player that gets that type of respect. But if I'm Joe and I don't, and let's say Bryce Harper did do it because he wanted to do it, I'd lie. I'd say, you know what, it was my decision. Even if it wasn't, because if you want to have your players back, that's what you do. You just lie, and we would never know, and we thought it was Joe, and then you move on. Saying no comment, though, I don't know. Does that mean maybe it was Bryce Harper? Did Bryce Harper want to do it himself, and he didn't want to throw his player under the bus? But you wouldn't say no comment. Now we're questioning more. If you just said it was me, we'd have no questions at all. Here's the other side of it, though. If it was Joe, and maybe he just didn't want to deal with the media's bullshit and the fans' bullshit. Look, no comment. As if, look, it was my decision, but I guess what? I don't care what you think. I don't care what you're going to say. I don't care what you question. No comment. And then Bryce basically saying I was basically trying to get the runner over was him just sticking up for maybe his manager. And again, I was trying to get the base runner over. Let's look for the full quote, though, from Bryce. Maybe that'll change. I mean, that basically was what it was. I remember seeing it live when I was on the Fanatic, and it got me fired the hell up because why wouldn't it? I believe Michael Barkan had all the tweets going as he does during all the post-game stuff. Lay it down and get him over. That's it. Lay it down and get it over. So, I don't know. It seems like it does smell Joe Girardi, or at least it smells like he was informed to do it. Like this one piece of hair, man, I'll tell you what, just flowing all over the place, not staying in the headband. It's been a crazy day. Working off the beers from last night. Worked 4 hours today on the radio. You know, it's all over the place. I had my fantasy draft. I got my puppy back. If you did not hear, she had parvo. I had her for a day and a half. She had parvo, which is basically a disease that kills puppies. She stayed in a puppy hospital for a handful of days. There was the huge storm. I was worried about what was going on during the huge storm. She came back today, so now my household's getting all hectic. She's super skinny, and it's sad to see, but it's also, like, so nice to have her here. There's college football on Notre Dame. So much happening here, and then the hair won't even stay in. So, I'll tell you what. This Phillies team is frustrating. They're annoying, and they do so many things that just upset me so much. But here they are down the stretch with an opportunity. I'll tell you what else gives you an opportunity. DraftKings Sportsbook. The NFL is back, and DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, is giving all new players a can't-miss offer for Week 1. So bet just $1 in any NFL game during the first week of the season and receive $200 in free bets instantly, no matter what. So take advantage of this limited-time offer now. You heard right. DraftKings is giving all new players $200 in free bets instantly when you place a bet of $1 or more on any Week 1 game. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code Brodes to receive $200 in free bets when you place a $1 bet on any Week 1 game. That's promo code Brodes to get your free $200 in free bets instantly for a limited time, only at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Must be 21 or older, Pennsylvania only. New customers only. Restrictions apply. In partnership with Meadows Racetrack and Casino. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. So basically there is a lot of toxic conversations that stem from this week. Even if you think, the Phillies are dead, they're nobodies, they're never going to do it. You're probably right. That's not going to stop me from watching every single damn pitch. But yeah, you're basically right. I don't feel awesome about where they are. But Joe Girardi's decision is definitely one to go back and forth on. But I will say, it's like, normally, if it's just for protection because they threw a lot of innings, that's different. This wasn't about the result that he had at that point. It's about what could happen if they stayed in the game. What if you just said, one more, we'll see what happens one more, and then you do some real damage to his arm when he already showed signs? The evidence was sitting right in front of you, and you had numbers in front of you that said, hey, guys, flashing red lights, Ranger Suarez needs off, Ranger Suarez needs to get out of there, take him out. You don't wait until the major problem happens when you're talking about a physical injury. All right, now, now let's take him out. Now let's take him out because his arm fell off. No, you make sure the arm doesn't fall off. There was real physical damage. Look, I want him to stay out there. He was dealing. He was performing very well, and I've loved every moment of this new Ranger Suarez that we have gotten this season. It's been fantastic, but ultimately, it was taken out of Joe Girardi's hands. When you see that, there really isn't much of a debate as a manager. You're down in velocity. You're dipping. You're coming down 95 and 99 pitches the last two previous starts. It's showing you, hey, alert. And from there, you got to pitch on the fly. It was about the sequence in the eighth that really lost you the game. You were a couple outs away. That's all. You were a couple outs away. I would have loved some more insurance by the offense, but ultimately, that's where it eats me alive is the eighth inning, and Archie Bradley has to be sharper. Look, he's been used in that role for how long now? It's not, I can't believe you put in Archie Bradley in the eighth. I can't believe you used Archie Bradley here. You weren't bitching and complaining when Archie Bradley was used in the same exact spot. The only difference was he was executing. He was pitching better. He was a dog. He's just not that right now. So Joe's not using him any differently. He's using him the same way you loved him during the 8-game win streak, the same way you loved him when he was pumping 94, 95, and he was getting the job done. Now he's just not. He's not getting the job done. That's the difference. He's used the same way. And with Bunting, just to summarize real quick, let's get to the 10th real quick. Because Odubel Herrera ended up knocking in that 10th inning run with Freddie Galvis on second. Maybe you bunt with Ronald Suarez to get him over to third since you're at the bottom of the order. I would have been more willing to have the conversation with Ronald Suarez with your bottom half of your batting order because these players are nowhere near as big as Bryce, as some of these other guys. And look, even with Bryce, if Rhys Hoskins is behind you, because I heard this, I would do it if Rhys Hoskins is behind you because there's a power bat. Why not have two opportunities for a fucking power bat, right? Let's hypothetically say that Rhys Hoskins is there, Bryce Harper's there. Why not get two cracks at it? Two really good players, one being one of the best players in all of baseball this year in the dish. He's third in OPS right now. He was one over the last week. He's murdering the baseball. You are afraid to pitch to Bryce Harper. Yeah, let's take a dinky hit. The other week he did that too. Or let's take a dinky bunt the other way to get it out. You're giving away outs. We stress it all the time defensively when Alec Boehm is giving the other team 4 outs in an inning. Well, this is the same concept. You're giving them an out. Why? With Bryce Harper. They did it the other weekend. They scored like 2 runs in the early stages of the game. So I thought it was justifiable. Because I got tweets all the time. Brodes, it was smart. If Kutch and Didi did their job, you wouldn't be bitching. Yes, I would. It's not about the result. It's about the idea and the concept of what you're doing in the moment. Forget hindsight. I don't care what happened. It's the idea of Bryce losing an at-bat. I will give and live and die with Bryce getting an at-bat any day of the week. It was lefty-righty. It was lefty-righty too. What are we doing? It's not about the people who failed afterwards, who did fail, big time. But that's not what it's about. But going back to that 10th, what ended up happening? You won the game with the man on second and 2 outs. So getting him to third was irrelevant because a damn base hit gives you a big opportunity to score, and that's why analytically you have a better chance of knocking that run. It was a 1.10 expected run scored with a man on second and 0 outs. It's 0.95, so it's a difference in 0.15 expected run scored, depending on third base 1 out or second base 0 outs. You ultimately didn't need the bunt because you scored on that Odubel anyway. So basically my point is you kind of lose an at-bat. You lose an out. I'd rather have 3 cracks at it than just 2 cracks at it. It's interesting for sure. No doubt about it. So with that, I want to say, before we end things here, don't forget about my friends over at Orbit Energy and Power. They are home to your solar experts. They do work in South Jersey, Delaware, Florida, Pennsylvania. You name it, their information is down below. They provide solar energy systems, water purification systems, clean, healthy water for you and your family. They got tree removals, electrical upgrades, you name it, new roofs. They do everything. I'm a homeowner now for about a year and a few months, and they have helped me out so much in so many different areas. I feel just ready to rock when I look at my house. I'm like, let's go, baby. Look at that roof. I'm drinking my water. Look at that water, baby. You could say the same exact thing. www.orbitenergy.us is their website, and 800-836-3987 is their phone number. So make sure you absolutely check them out and say that Brodes sent you. All right, they got the Milwaukee Brewers up next. We'll see what they do. I want to thank everybody so much for hanging out, and I will see you next time.